right irreverend Uncle Aaron. Let's see. So, I'm going to try and keep this short, because I know that you don't really care what I'm going to say. I actually remember one thing from my own wedding. Do you remember anything from yours?
Not really.
I remember one sentence from the wedding that I had. This isn't part of what I was going to say, but I'll share it anyway. It was in the temple, and the dude that officiated our sealing, he said to us, one of the things he said to us was, in the morning of the resurrection, when you call your wife forth, if that's what happens, he said, she may not answer. And similarly, then he turns to Rachel and he goes, he may not decide to call you, whatever. So, I mean, that's the only thing I remember from my wedding ceremony.
Great.
Is that there's,
There's a choice.
there's still a choice even after all of, not yet. There's still a choice after all of this. So, anyway. So, many years ago, I attended a fireside that was held after the book, The Mormon Way of Doing Business, was published. I don't know if you've heard of that book, seen it. Good book. It's a business book. It features a lot of prominent Mormon businessmen and, just tells their story. So anyway, they came and they did a fireside. Two of the men and their wives who are featured in that book came to our stake and did a fireside. And the wives spoke in addition to the husbands, and actually I thought the wives outshone their successful business husbands that night. So I went up after the fireside to one of the women, who happens to be the mother of someone I've known on and off since my days at BYU. Her name was Bonnie Quigley, and anyway, I know their son Nate Quigley. I thought her advice was so straightforward and necessary, and these were the notes from her talk. And I completely forgot about this, didn't know it existed. But one of the nice things that I've been doing for almost 30 years is I have been writing weekly letters out, because that's what Grampy did. He started that tradition as soon as his oldest went on a mission. Was it Rich went first? Jenny? I don't remember who. Anyway, he started writing weekly letters, and so I picked up on that, and I've been doing it ever since. And in preparation for this, I went into my letter database and I just put in the keyword marriage, because I was looking for, whatever, and this came up. Totally forgot about this, but, wow, I mean, it's just like, here's my thing to you, okay. So, she said in her talk, these are just one-liners, she said, now that you're married, don't bring your problems home to me. You and Jim must learn to solve things yourself. So this was advice her mother-in-law or her mother had given to her after she was married. He's like, you guys are married now, don't bring your problems home to me, you guys figure it out. She said, find a mentor, someone that's half a generation older than you that you can follow. It doesn't have to be the same person for each of you. She said, don't complain about your spouse to others. That is a cardinal rule. Do not make fun of your spouse in front of others. Now, with small exceptions, there is good humor. There is good humor that can be had, but, there are lines not to cross. She said it's okay not to have all the answers right now in your young lives. Be patient with one another. Go to the temple, serve in the church, and pray. Her husband's frequent adage, work as if it all depends on you, pray as if it all depends on the Lord. Take good care of one another, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. If things get hectic at home, take a walk in the sunshine. Everything looks better in the sunshine. And she didn't say whether that walk had to be together. So maybe there are some times when it's just time to walk alone. She said, work hard together. Don't expect to have it all right now. We have driven used cars for many years. I have washed and ironed our clothes, cooked our family meals, and saved all year for just one family vacation. And this is a woman whose husband is a very wealthy attorney now. But in the early years, obviously the money wasn't there. Wives, tell your husband you love and admire him. Husbands, tell your wife you love and admire her. And then have family work time on Saturday mornings. So that was the advice that she had given in a talk that I really liked and I had written down and I had saved all these years, and I have never revisited it until now. Some of the other things I found in my search in my database was a quote from Gordon B. Hinckley, which is a quote that actually I saw framed at the Nixon home, which your family has connections to, because did you ever work for Reed? Kayla did. But this was a quote I first saw at the Nixon home from Gordon B. Hinckley. It said, "The fact is, most putts don't drop, most beef is tough, most children grow up to be just people, most marriages require a high degree of mutual toleration, most jobs are more often dull than otherwise, life is like an old-time rail journey full of delays, sidetracks, smoke, dust, cinders and jolts, interspersed only occasionally by beautiful vistas and thrilling bursts of speed. The trick is to thank the Lord for letting you have the ride." And that quote, the reason that I like it so much is that because it really takes away sort of the Disney aspect that people want in their lives. My life is going to be a castle. I'm going to have a princess. I'm going to have a prince. The fact is that life is work, and most of the time it stinks and it's hard and it's lonely or it's sad, and there are occasional moments of happiness, and you just got to focus on the good stuff and just accept the fact that it's not going to be I don't know what it is on social media, everybody with their fake photos and their fake pictures and whatever. I actually had an engaged couple come to consult with me about getting a prenuptial agreement drawn up for them. This was years ago. Each of them was on a second marriage, and at one point they asked me what I would do if I was in their shoes. And my answer was that I would never do a prenuptial agreement because I didn't view marriage as anything other than a total commitment to the other person. So if you have any reservations about things that you are holding back from your spouse, that's a red flag. If your spouse doesn't know something about you, that's a red flag. I know you're not doing a prenuptial agreement, but in an emotional sense, there can be an emotional prenup, right? Like, I'm not going to disclose everything that I, have thought or felt or said or done or, whatever. Your marriage should be completely open. To go into a marriage reserving certain privileges for oneself sends an immediate message of non-commitment. I'm sure you've heard about the 5 love languages. Yes? Do you know what they are? So there's acts of service, there's physical touch, there's words of affirmation, there's quality time, and there's gifts. I don't know if you know what your particular love language is. I don't know if you know what your partner's love language is. But what I've come to understand is that my expressing love in my love language doesn't get anywhere. I have to express love in her love language in order for her to understand it, which is very difficult because it's not my love language. My love language is something different. So anyway, so the point of that is I've come to understand that to express love properly, you have to do it the way that the other person would want it. But on the other hand, the other side of that coin, I would say it's incumbent upon the other person to receive whatever love is given in whatever form or fashion it's given, and not to say, well, you didn't do it in my love language, so therefore I can't accept it, right? And then, of course, you've heard the phrase, the grass is greener on the other side of the fence, right? As others are prone to do, we may look at our own marriage and realize or discern of others and think that somehow we are traveling a tougher and rougher road, and that the grass is always greener on the other side of whatever fence you happen to be looking over or through. Truthfully, the grass on your side of the fence is as green or as brown as you will make it. Obviously, the greener the grass, the more fertilizer and water you have given it. And let me tell you, I know about green grass because I have good green grass. And marriage, like grass, needs those growth inhibitors of compliments, love, fun, and patience. I also found this funny memory from my daughter Anna. During the car ride to church, my 3-year-old, this was when she was 3, Anna, out of the blue, decided she needed to define marriage for all of us in the car. She said, when you get married, you go to a guy who talks to you, then you kiss and you go home. And that was marriage for Anna as a 3-year-old. But it's good advice, because you do need to talk, you do need to kiss, and you do need to go home. and you shouldn't be anywhere else other than home, right? I'll say two more things. You know, I just posted this a year ago when Rachel and I celebrated our 24th anniversary on Facebook. I posted 24 things that I had learned in the 24 years of marriage, and I had totally forgotten about this too until I went through my database. So look, thank goodness for records. Anyway, so very quickly, here are my 24 lessons learned in my own marriage. Therapy is good for everyone. Never be afraid of therapy. Live for the moment and not for better days ahead. You don't have to dance, but you must have good music. And hopefully it's not that rap stuff. If your spouse is hungry, cold, or tired, then you are too. And I'll tell you, this drives me nuts still with my wife, especially with air conditioning in the car, because she will blast it. And I'm not freezing. When you get married, you know 1/100 of your spouse. No matter what you think you know about each other, you are just beginning to learn about each other. You will never be the same as another married couple, so don't compare yourselves. Get a hobby or two, because there's more to life than living together. Sometimes you have to just fake it. No one is completely satisfied in a compromise. That's a big one. I already covered this, but you and your spouse speak different love languages, or maybe you don't. Maybe you speak the same. Maybe you're one of those rare couples. Your spouse should not be afraid to confide in you. And this, for our technological world, all accounts and passwords should be shared. Learn to be happy with and thankful for what you have. Everyone makes mistakes. If it's not abuse, then get over it. One mean sentence will ring in your spouse's ears for years. That is true. Let your spouse keep and enjoy the traditions they have had as children. So I'll tell you very honestly, this was a hard one for me because like my wife is obsessed with the Macy's Day Thanksgiving Day Parade on TV or whatever. Okay, you know, yay. And I went and sat out at 3 a.m. to get front row seats at the Macy's Day Parade for her. Yeah, I got on TV. A marriage is stronger if united in the same faith, which fortunately we have here. It is okay if dad or mom doesn't go on every family trip or outing. I'm talking about dad or mom, not dad or mom. I'm talking about it's okay if you guys don't always go on every trip together, every family outing together. Kids need structure more than they need parents as friends. Laughter is the best medicine. Spouse before house. Rachel didn't like that one. That's because she hates our house. Having a pet is a no-brainer. Friends and family make the journey more enjoyable. And finally, the 24th lesson from my 24 years of marriage, your spouse is worthy of your love and devotion. So, in as much as we're all members of the church here, I will say, obviously, that I don't represent the church in any capacity while doing this, but will certainly emphasize the fact that the First Presidency and Council of the 12 have solemnly proclaimed that marriage is between a man and a woman, ordained of God, and that family is central to the Creator's plan for the eternal destiny of His children. And when you get sealed, you will get more instructions relating to that. I will just close with two things before I perform the official ceremony. And those two things are, number one, I have only ever done one thing perfect in my 25 years in July. Only one thing perfect in 25 years of marriage. And that is that I have never, ever left the toilet seat up. Ever.
He already has.
But he's not married yet. He's not married yet. And that may not be his perfect thing. I'm just telling you, that is the only thing that I have done perfectly for 25 years. And the only other thing that I will tell you is scripturally, since I suppose I should throw a scripture in here, Jacob 6:12. You know what that verse is?
Oh, be wise.
Oh, be wise. What can I say more? Just be wise in your decisions. So, now I will proceed. Do you want to exchange rings?
Right now?
Yes. I mean, I don't have any formal words. This was where you were supposed to say your little things, but they're private.
Other way.
All right. So,
Wait, hold on.
well, this is what I'm doing.
Oh,
So this, on the way up, I was thinking about this ceremony. I mean, I've been thinking about this ceremony a lot, but on the way up, I was thinking, you know, when do I have them hold hands and what do we do? So anyway, I called Jarom and I said, Jarom, do you have a favorite necktie? And he said, yes, I do. And I said, go get it. So this is Jarom's favorite necktie. And he said it's his favorite necktie because he likes the colors and because he wore it all through his mission, right? So take each other by the right hand. And I am going to just make something up here and say that I am tying you in love. And that this tie should never again go around your neck. That this tie should be framed with a photo and, you know, a certificate or something and just hang on your wall that you were tied in love on this day. So yes, this tie is a tie. All right, so let me proceed, and in the true sense of the house that I come from, ladies first. Stevie Marie Orton of Guilford, New Hampshire, do you take, of your own free will and accord, Joshua Jarom Larman of Aubrey, Texas, to be your lawfully wedded husband for the remainder of your life here on earth?
I do.
Joshua Jarom Larman of Aubrey, Texas, do you take Stevie Marie Orton of Guilford, New Hampshire, to be your lawfully wedded wife for the remainder of your days here on earth? And by the authority vested in me by the New Hampshire Department of State, the Office of the Secretary of State, I now pronounce you, are you taking it, man? I now pronounce you Stevie and Jarom Larman, lawfully wedded before man and God on this first day of June, 2021. Yay!
Congratulations.
Now photos.
All right, I'll see you later.